Men in America didn't stop marrying because they stopped loving. They stopped because marriage stopped feeling safe. And the truth behind that fear runs much deeper than anyone wants to admit. Modern America is experiencing a quiet shift in its relationship landscape, a shift most people don't fully see until they sit down with real men and listen to what they're actually feeling. Men aren't loudly protesting marriage, they aren't declaring war on relationships, and they aren't celebrating bachelorhood the way stereotypes claim. Instead, they are quietly stepping back, not from love itself, but from a system that increasingly feels dangerous, unrewarding, and stacked against them from the moment they say, "I do." Men still crave loyalty, connection, partnership, and a woman they can build a life with. But they're living in a world where marriage carries risks that many no longer feel comfortable taking. At the center of this retreat is a simple truth. Men aren't avoiding marriage because they fear commitment. They're avoiding marriage because they fear what happens if the commitment fails. And when you look deeper, the reasons are far more human than most people realize. One of the biggest forces pushing men away from marriage is the reality of high divorce rates in America. Men today are painfully aware that divorce in the US still sits between 40% and 50%, and they've watched firsthand how devastating divorce can be. Not in statistics, but in the stories of real men they know. They've watched uncles, fathers, co-workers, and lifelong friends walk into family courtrooms thinking the law would protect them, only to walk out with their bank accounts drained, their homes awarded to someone else, and their children reduced to occasional visits every other weekend. They've seen men lose everything they built, not because they were bad partners, but because the legal system often treats them as secondary parents or financial safety nets. Men don't fear marriage, they fear divorce, because divorce can destroy a man's finances, reputation, mental health, and the bond he has with his children. When men say they're afraid of marriage, what they really mean is they're afraid of being legally, emotionally, and financially erased. But it isn't only divorce that scares men. Many are opting out because they're carrying deep personal and emotional burdens that they never learned to talk about. Men face depression, anxiety, financial instability, burnout, trauma, addiction, and identity confusion, but society never taught them how to express any of it. Men who feel lost or emotionally overwhelmed often withdraw, not because they don't want love, but because they don't want to fail someone they care about. They don't want to enter a marriage while feeling broken inside. They don't want to be another disappointment in someone's life. With the rising cost of living, unstable job markets, and pressure to be successful, many men don't believe they're good enough to be husbands. And instead of admitting that vulnerability, they quietly choose to stay single. Another major reason men are stepping away is the growing sense of feeling unappreciated and emotionally unsupported within modern relationships. Men are taught to be providers, protectors, and problem solvers, but rarely are they taught how to receive emotional care or emotional nourishment. Many married men say they felt invisible inside their own homes, like walking wallets, like labor machines, like background characters whose sacrifices were expected but never acknowledged. Men want to be admired, respected, and emotionally valued just as much as women want to be cherished and understood. But when men feel that their emotional needs are minimized or mocked, they slowly shut down. A man who feels unappreciated doesn't yell or complain. He fades, he detaches. He stops seeing marriage as a source of peace and starts seeing it as a source of emotional starvation. And then there is the crushing weight of fear, specifically the fear of divorce and its consequences. Many men believe that marriage today is a contract where they take on most of the risk while their partner takes on most of the protection. If the marriage works, both win. If the marriage fails, he loses significantly more. Men fear signing a commitment that could legally and financially punish them for decades, even if they tried their best. They fear false accusations. They fear losing their children. They fear losing years of hard work. They fear losing themselves. They're not afraid of marriage, they're afraid of what marriage has become. But the shift is also cultural. Changing social norms have created a new dynamic in American dating. Many people now delay marriage into their 30s or later, waiting for a perfect partner, a perfect moment, or a perfect match. Men see women scrolling endlessly on dating apps, comparing real men to filtered fantasies of men who don't exist. They see modern dating turning into a competitive marketplace where only the top 10% of men receive the majority of attention, while average men are overlooked or dismissed as not ambitious enough, not emotionally evolved enough, not financially ready enough. This creates a divide. High-quality men, and men who believe they are high quality, don't rush into marriage because they have options. Meanwhile, average men retreat because they feel undesired, invisible, or inadequate. When both extremes pull away for different reasons, marriage becomes less and less appealing to the modern American man. On top of that, the relationship expectations placed on men have shifted dramatically. Men are now expected to be emotionally intelligent without being emotional, confident without being arrogant, protective without being possessive, financially successful without being stressed, supportive without being exhausted, gentle without being weak, and available at all times without ever needing space. Many men feel like they have to be a therapist, a provider, a protector, a best friend, a leader, a partner, and a mind reader all at once. For a lot of men, marriage no longer feels like a partnership. It feels like a performance. And performances eventually burn people out. Add the cultural ridicule of masculinity, sitcoms portraying husbands as clueless, society mocking traditional male traits, social media constantly telling men what they should be, and men internalize the message that their natural masculine strengths are liabilities. Men feel like they're walking into marriages where they are pre-labeled as emotionally unavailable, immature, or the root of all relationship failures. And so they detach, not because they hate women, but because they don't want to enter a commitment where they feel misunderstood before they even begin. When all these forces combine, high divorce rates, emotional starvation, financial pressure, fear of legal consequences, personal struggles, social comparisons, shifting norms, rising expectations, and cultural misunderstanding, it creates a generation of men who don't see marriage as a source of stability, but as a source of vulnerability. Yet despite all this, men still want connection. They still want companionship. They still want a woman to build life with. They're not running away from love. They're running toward emotional safety. Men will return to marriage when marriage returns to partnership, when respect replaces criticism, when appreciation replaces entitlement, when loyalty replaces fear, when emotional support flows both ways, when marriage stops feeling like a gamble and starts feeling like a sanctuary again. Because men aren't afraid of building a life. They're afraid of losing one. This is Men Decoded, where we don't blame men, don't shame women, and don't sugarcoat truth. We decode it.